Welcome to Sex and Breakfast, the sexy way to start your day. Dishing out sexpert advice and spicy insights about sex, love, and everything in between. Hosted by sex coaches and therapists from around the globe.
Today we're doing something juicy. Maybe it's time for a mimosa. We're here to celebrate and unpack the different types of orgasms. Yes, you heard that right. Orgasms aren't a one size fit all, they are a damn buffet, a breakfast buffet. Before we dive into the different types, let's start by blowing up the myth that orgasms are just about genital and climax. Can we do that? Because they're not. Orgasms can be emotional, energetic, full body. Hell, they can even be non genital, right? Have nothing to do with your genitals, no touch, nothing. That's where the energetic orgasms come in. And it's about expanding pleasure beyond what we've been taught. So I have a question for you all. What was the moment in your life that either personally or professionally, when your understanding of orgasm shifted?
Well, for me, it was when I was in a sexological class, and I was reading about someone who was paralyzed from the waist down, and she had no feeling but was having full orgasms. They actually did a study on her and showed that her brain was firing in all the same places as someone having an orgasm. And it really opened my mind to how limited we are in our understanding of pleasure.
Oh, I love that, Nicole. Yeah, I know for me personally, I don't know about you, all you ladies, but I didn't know that there was more than one type of orgasm.
Same like Nicole, definitely at university as well. And this is where I was learning about the physiological aspect of orgasm. Where you have this your blood vessel dilated, you feel the flushes, and your buttock tighten. All these physiological um, things that we take things for granted. And then I remember in the sexology class, what was interesting is learning and noticing these physiological signs of orgasm can really help those who have difficulties with it. So even priming the body, or like clenching the body when you are almost reaching climax, but you have difficulties reaching climax, as if preempting and prompting the body at certain times, can really help you if you have difficulties with orgasm. So I think Dr. Patty say coax it, yeah,
To coax it
uh,
out.
coax it out, yeah,
Hmm.
and of course not just the physical things, but orgasm is also about the connection, mind, body, mindfulness, and all sorts of other things, including environmental um, influences as well. So yeah, um, thanks university and sexology class.
So I'm thinking of the time I discovered this website that focused only on people's faces during orgasm. And the name of the website is escaping me right now, but we'll definitely find it and put it in the show notes. But it is unlike any other erotic media website I've seen, because there was absolutely no genitals, no body shown. It was really focused on the neck up. And the way this affected me witnessing this as a young woman was that it it normalized the very physiological contortions that many people are ashamed about and may even hide when they're with their partner. And so this allowed me to see, wow, other people make these funny faces too. And then it allowed me to also invite my partners to look directly in each other's faces, which can be a very, eye contact is one thing, but also just like allowing your O face to be seen. And a website like this and being uh, exposed to other people who were sharing their O faces was really moving and expanded the landscape of this moment of pleasure for me.
Oh, I love that. That reminds me of the it was on Facebook for a while. So this is like probably a decade ago, of the women being filmed while reading and someone holding a magic wand to them so that they were I see you, Dr. Norland, you know what I'm talking about.
I
Yeah,
love
so
that.
I bet it was based off of this study that you were talking about. Like whoever created it, it was on Facebook. It's pretty old, but it's a video of women reading children's stories. I think, I'm not sure if they're children's stories, honestly, but and then someone under the table, so you just see them from like the chest up, you
It's
know.
called hysterical literature.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my god.
right. Thank you.
Oh
Hysterical literature.
That's right. Hysterical
my
literature. I'll never forget it. And that's where I learned about the magic wand. I was like, oh my gosh, what is
So
making
you
him do that?
so you read Riding Little, and
Little
then
Red
some.
Riding Hood.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. And
and then
then,
literally someone playing with your hood.
yeah, yeah, they're using the magic wand on them underneath the table.
That's
Pun
amazing.
intended,
Oh, that's
absolutely.
amazing. Okay, we definitely need to put that in the show notes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that.
My
uh,
pleasure.
So yes, so going back to what you were saying, Dr. Norland, it is beautiful to watch people's faces, right, as they're orgasming. I personally am a huge fan, but I also encourage people to look into each other's eyes to create that connection. And it's very uncomfortable sometimes, to look into our partner's eyes while we're orgasming. I personally sometimes close my eyes. So yeah, but so okay, so we're talking about orgasm. So let's start with the main one that I had learned about growing up. So that was clitoral orgasms. So most common, but it's not often understood. But it's deeply neurological, actually, the clitoral orgasm, because what is that saying? Your brain is the number one sex organ, right? And so these ones are specified just to vagina owners. So there's a clitoral orgasm, vaginal orgasm. Also, it's misunderstood cousins. So less about the vagina and more about the internal clitoris structures. So, and that leads me to the cervical orgasm, right? That's also another type of orgasm that's tied to the vaginal orgasm, which cervical orgasms don't happen all the time, right? And because you have to be very relaxed and also very turned on to have a cervical orgasm. And my Tantra teacher taught me that I think there's like four or five different places within the cervix where you can orgasm that are specific energetic orgasms that you can have, but could be a whole nother episode. I could talk about it for days. And then the last one that is, some people don't even think it's real, is the G spot orgasm. And I just spaced on the name for what the G spot stands for. What's the official name?
The Grafenberg spot.
Yeah, I
Oh,
really,
sorry. I thought it's the lady who taught. Remember when we were at SCU and then we had to watch this video, and she's the one that um, teach how to do a G spot orgasm.
yeah, but then the Grafenberg orgasm, and that's
Oh,
not a
okay.
very sexy name, G spot, G spot orgasm. And it's crazy to me how people think like it doesn't exist. It's clearly a separate part. Um, um, it's, I don't know, it's right, that juicy, sponge-like structure. Like if you stick your finger in, that is what it feels like a sponge kind of thing. And then for that reason, orgasms through a G spot can be very intense and emotional. And they can even happen from just the come hither motion, right? That's the original one how I learned about it. Um, all right. So, question: how do you talk about these standard orgasms with clients who think something's wrong with them for not experiencing all of them? Um, and I actually am going to start because my very first client, I was so terrified of her. Actually, technically, she was classified as anorgasmic by her doctor and by her therapist. And what anorgasmic means, for those of you who don't know what it means that she is not capable of having orgasms. And I shared with her, like, if that's possible, if that is true, because she was my first client, like first paying client years ago, um, that if that was true, that's okay. There's many different kinds of orgasms that we can practice and focus on besides the clitoral orgasm or the vaginal orgasm or nipple orgasm. But it is possible. And eventually she actually orgasms through the magic wand. Her and her partner practiced, I think it was like months. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Woohoo.
Woohoo! Yeah, and her and her partner practiced, and yeah, she is orgasmic now.
That is hope for everyone out there that has been diagnosed as non-orgasmic.
Right. Yeah. What else?
Well, I think that there's a lot of shame talk out there, even in the sex coaching world. I've heard sex coaches diminishing people's orgasms if they are clitoral. And look, we all have different experiences and are in different places. I have clients interested in trying to have a G spot orgasm, or other clients who are just trying to have like any partnered orgasm of any kind. So I think all orgasms should be celebrated regardless of which one it is. And we shouldn't make anyone feel bad if they have or have yet to have one of these different types of orgasms.
Fun fact, Nicole, that idea that if women cannot have orgasm from penetration actually come from Freud. There's that writing, and like we all know, right? I think 80% or more than 80% of women can only have orgasm from clitoral stimulation and not penetration. So there you go.
Yeah, Freud kind of messed it up for for women, didn't he? He did a number on the female species. Yes, yeah, and also I want to touch back with what you were talking about, Nicole. I've heard that for years and years that if they're not, and now there's like a person huge in the sex coaching industry, and she's shaming women for having clitoral orgasm, saying they're subpar or whatever term she uses. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when I speak with my clients and they if they arrive with either something their partner also, if their partner is really goal oriented towards them having a certain type of orgasm, I ask why, and a lot of times it's because of early messages we've received about sex or something we've witnessed in porn. And so at the end of the day, I go back to asking the client what their goal is for seeking out a new orgasm that they are putting on their list, because it's more important to understand their why than check off something on this to-do list. And once we know that why, then we can certainly explore and figure out a pathway. And a lot of times that pathway is through solo pleasure. So I also ask about their relationship to this, because at the end of the day, it's not their responsibility of their partner to give them or make them have any type of orgasm. So whenever I hear those phrases, I'm listening very closely between the lines. And when I hear, my partner wants to give me this orgasm, or my partner can't make me orgasm, I go, all right, time out. Let's unpack these phrases.
Oh, I love that, Dr. Norland. Yeah, I've worked with quite a few couples who the men are so focused on pleasing the woman that these are heterosexual relationships. They're so focused. They want to make her have every type of orgasm, make her squirt. And the women are just like, I just want to be able to feel my body when I'm putting
Mm.
lotion on, you know? And I love the enthusiasm of the men, right? Always, always. And I love how they're reading and watching all these things. And then sometimes it just goes back to the simplicity of what is your partner really asking you for. All right. So now that we've talked about kind of like, well, we've talked way more about actually a lot of the different kinds of orgasms, but just a couple more. So these are the lesser known types of orgasms, but they make you feel extremely good. There's the anal orgasms. These are ones that men and women can have. Although the men tend to, I personally have found out, I feel like the men can orgasm deeper because they have the P spot, the prostate spot, which, man, you get a penile orgasm and a prostate orgasm. It blows their minds if you can do that. But again, not always possible. But for women, because there's nerve endings back there, but again, you have to be very relaxed, right? And this is again just the cervical orgasm. We talked about that. So that's something that requires trust between partners, relaxation, a slow build up. And when it does happen, it feels to me just it's just something that just shoots through your body just because it's so powerful. But again, it's not something that can always happen. Kind of like similar to the anal orgasm. And then the blended orgasm, it's like a mix, kind of like of the clitoral and the G spot and layering sensation. So blended orgasm. And the just finally being really talked about orgasm that is possible and has been happening since women could breastfeed is the nipple orgasm. Um, right? So it is from the nipples because the nipples area is so sensitive that in the brain on brain scans your genitalia and your nipples, your brain doesn't know the difference what's being touched. And I personally have been with men that have also experienced nipple orgasms, right? So, and I've spoken to pregnant or women who've been nursing who've had orgasms while they're feeding their children, not sexual at all, but it ties back to that place where it's the same place in the brain. And then there's the tantric breast massage that has become popular throughout the years, which is great. But the last thing you touch is the nipples because it's so powerful. A woman has to be able to feel her breast first. I could do a whole another episode on breast massage, note to self. And then the full body energetic orgasm. Um, so it's tantric based usually, but you actually don't even need to touch the body. It's just based on breath and energy, and it's pretty wild when it does happen. So so that ties into like the fantasy orgasm, which is like the no touch, sleep gasms. Those are actual real things. Nocturnal orgasm. So it's like just your body doing its own thing. My husband was talking to me about this. What is it for Lent at the boarding school he went to? All the guys did a no touching piece, right? And they couldn't last like a week. They didn't last through Lent. And then the spiritual orgasm, and it's something that feels transcendent, euphoric. Like I've orgasm and seen and spoken to actually quite a few people, seeing colors, and it's just really, really crazy when it can happen. But again, these aren't orgasms that happen all the time. Can you make yourself feel any one of these orgasms? Yes, because intention is so powerful. But which of these types, ladies out there, um, sorry, my co hosts, which of these types can blow your mind and your client's mind the most?
I think because of the field that we're in, I might be getting more social chatter than our listeners, but about what's trending sexually right now. So this might not be true for you, but I'm hearing more dialogue about desiring cervical and anal orgasms.
Yeah, me too. And also, that goes back to any orgasm is a fantastic orgasm, right? No shade, no shame for any orgasm from any of the sex coaches here, anyways, and therapists here, right? But there are people out there that shame others about certain types of orgasm. But the cervical and the anal orgasms, those are so juicy. And then, have you had any personal experiences with any of the less talked about ones, or experiences from clients?
For me, at first, I was laughing at the idea of the full body or energetic orgasm. And then I had a really good meditation session. I don't know what happened. but I really experienced that transcendent kind of energetic moving that feels almost death-like, but then it becomes such a transcendent pleasure that that really, I think I was in a different spiritual state of mind. Yeah. So yeah. I eat my humble pie.
Sounds like another well, should add dimensional orgasm to
Yeah, and,
this.
and I think, I mean, I think maybe the orgasm is also one way of the divine trying to connect with us through there's a pleasure aspect of connecting with the divine, and maybe this transcendental orgasm is the message of
I
that.
love that.
Yeah, as far as the less talked about orgasms, I'm gonna throw in that coregasm. I don't know if you if we skipped over this one, but definitely want to shout out to the coregasm. A lot of people, a lot of young women, sometimes their first orgasm is through exercise. And then sometimes when we learn that this is possible, we kind of lean into it and we can, through clenching our thighs or sometimes in a plank position, I've started to feel that tingle. And so, yeah, challenge yourself there. And you can also see I've witnessed male bodies in uh, online porn, basically. I've seen clips of hands free orgasms while doing pull-ups or doing squats. So that's a new tag for you to search if
I
you're
love
interested.
that. Different
Yeah,
from
very interesting.
coregasm. I there's a term for it, I'm sure already, but yes, I love that. And we did an episode on sexercise, and we talked about coregasms. I remember that our first coregasms.
Hmm.
Takes
um,
going to the gym to a totally different
Yeah.
space now.
right now, yeah, I was like, oh yeah, we
I'm going to the
talked about
gym.
this.
Let's get physical.
Yes, I love that. So, what do we say to someone who feels broken or behind in the orgasm journey? Because again, it goes back to that piece where there's a lot of people who've been told they're anorgasmic, aka they can't have orgasms, or that maybe they're just disappointed in themselves for not being to orgasm the way that their partners had desired them to, or maybe that they had wanted to. So, what do you ladies say to people?
Honestly, in my practice, most people are just trying to have any good sex with any type of obtainable orgasm. So there is so much noise out there on social media about all this pleasure people are having, and that's great. But I also want to normalize for people listening that hear this and feel overwhelmed that this topic is we're talking about this, and our purpose is to awaken your awareness of the possibilities. So if you are hearing this and you're not feeling that way, this is an opportunity to listen within and be curious about where is that negative dialogue coming from, because we all have the capacity for more pleasure, and a lot of us have to overcome these dark shadows from our past within ourselves first in order to tap into that deeper orgasmic realm.
Yes, I'd like to add that you are not broken, and comparison is the thief of joy. So just bear that in mind. And gosh, really, please don't see yourself as broken. And perhaps the biggest difficulty is, I think, it's not about trying hard. I must reach this certain level or I must get there. And I think it's all maybe come from we live in the driven capitalist society. So the message that we're swimming in is really you need to work hard to get to where you want, or I need to work hard to give my partner an orgasm, etc. And often it really backfires when it comes to orgasm in our body. So I'm 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 wondering, what if orgasm difficulties can be reframed as experience of being in the body? It's just another experience, um, and to learn to befriend your body, to tend to it, to be patient with it, to love it, being attuned instead of being angry or being frustrated for not doing what you wanted to do, could be one of the way to remedy it, if you want to say remedy. So yeah, so I'm always recommending people to be really gentle, listen to it, and trust that it will happen. Patient. Mhm.
I love that. Yeah, I recommend those things to my clients too. What practices do we recommend to explore new orgasmic experiences?
How about having a coach to guide,
Da-da-da!
to help you unlock what's keeping you from deeper pleasure? That can be helpful. I'm not saying you have to work with someone, but I know with any goals, it can be easier sometimes to get there when you have support. And if you have a really supportive, loving partner or just pure dedication to a solo practice, sometimes that can be enough. But it's also, don't be afraid to reach out. And that's what we're here for.
I agree with Nicole. I really engage with your sex coach. You can also do pleasure mapping with them, um, self exploration, go for massage, even daily tuning into pleasure and not just focusing on genitals can be really helpful. Mindfulness practice, noticing different pleasurable sensation, and mirror work helps. I mean, you look at your face every day in the mirror. Have you ever um, get curious and look at your genitals, learn its anatomy, because you can help create a really powerful connection between your mind and body when you are able to see and map your genitals. And yeah, go and watch educational video. I think Betty Dodson, the late Betty Dodson, has good collection on real women having orgasm, and
Hmm.
yeah, learn from real people instead of watching corn. I'll put in the uh, link on the show notes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and one of my favorite practices that I recommend when exploring is to make noise. A lot of us learn to self pleasure, and we learn to also have partnered experiences. Again, going back to like controlling our face because we feel shy, we also tend to control. We either control and try and be quieter than we may naturally be, or we try to mimic a sound that may not be natural. So I encourage my clients to explore what it feels like to just hum or make lower sounds and just expand this because it's actually physiologically connected to the vagus nerve. And the more we can activate the vagus nerve, the more we're going to be taken into parasympathetic nervous system, which means we're going to be more relaxed. So make noise, and I'm going to double down on that look in the mirror, but unlike Dion said, looking at your genitals, that's fun too. I encourage my clients to look in the mirror at their own O face, masturbate, and look themselves in the eyes.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I love that. I've done that. It's so powerful. Yeah. Okay, so orgasmic expression is a personal, powerful, and now becoming even more political practice. So it's a reclamation of pleasure in a world that often shames it. So wherever you are in your pleasure journey, just know you're not behind, you're not broken, and your body is capable of so much more than you've been told. Any final words, ladies?
Orgasms have more genres than Spotify. So tune in, turn on, and explore
Oh,
the whole playlist.
I love that.
loving. Okay, for me, I'll stand with be gentle and compassionate with yourself. Really, you cannot rush a flower to bloom, but you can attend and cultivate it with love.
And I'll say there's still time. I can recognize how my body has changed over the years, and rather than be frustrated or feel like I was missing something, I look forward to my future changes and how my orgasms may change according to hormones and cycles. So just I encourage this deep listening and this evolution of our bodies over time.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and I would love to add just having patience. I think patience is a huge piece. All right, so try something new this week, whether it's a new touch, a breath pattern, a fantasy, or a conversation, and share this episode with someone who needs a reminder that their pleasure is valid and infinite. And please remember that anyone can be orgasmic.
Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, send us some love by sharing, hitting subscribe, and leave a review. It really helps us connect to more incredible people like you. If you want to learn more about sex coaching or therapy, you can find us at sexandbreakfastpodcast.com. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at sexandbreakfastpodcast. The people helping us cook this all up are Michael Merle, creating our tasty tunes, dishing out our audio and video is Max Rainier, and our delectable visual designs by Brie Vilaubi.